Welcome to another episode of
The Epic Family Road Trip.
In last week's episode of the Epic Family Road Trip, we left our breathtaking camp spot near Mounted Ziza to head to the Yukon border, where we were faced with a big decision that changed all our plans of making it to the Arctic Circle. We then had an experience of a lifetime at the beautiful Northern Rockies Lodge on Muncho Lake along the Alaska Highway. After an incredible stay and adventure at Northern Rockies Lodge, we continued on our drive back south. Along the way, we took a break from the Alaska Highway and stopped at Nanda Peak to see where the trail would lead and hopefully find a camp spot for the night, since the forecast for seeing the northern lights looked promising in the area. This was exciting because I have always dreamt of seeing the northern lights.
So we're in the middle of a road here in the Northern Rockies, and Daniel up at the Northern Rockies Lodge told us about this and said, you know, if you can find it, it's worthwhile getting up into the mountains. And we're going to show you the spectacular views here, but we're nestled in the mountains on a single lane road, and apparently there's an elevation gain at the end, which if it's not snow covered, we're going to, even if it has some snow, we're going to give it a try and get way up high there. And apparently the views up there are really awesome. So come with us down a back road in the Northern Rockies. We're climbing up pretty good in elevation here. In the distant hills you can see snow at this level, so and patches of snow here and there, plus a still pond back there had a thin layer of ice, so we're getting up pretty high.
Always amazing seeing how much stamina Lando has running the trails up and down hills without tiring.
What is it? Wow. Is that snow? Is that snow? Get it, Hannah.
Get him. What are they thinking
So we're out walking around in the snow. Lando's having a blast because he hasn't seen snow since last year. Just check out the vista. We're right on top of a mountain, snow-capped peaks on all sides. Pretty special. They had constructed a tower up here, and that's why they put in the road. And now they've removed the tower and they're completely cleaning it back up. So I don't know if it's going to be left open, but I think the company, the phone company that owned the property, is going to be selling it, or selling it, I guess, to the provincial park, which is cool. So this area is going to become part of the parkland and be protected. It's such a unique place, but it's not often you get a nice little road to drive to the top and experience the whole thing. So hopefully they'll leave the road open for people like us to venture to the top and explore. But anyway, it looks like it's all going back eventually to parkland. They're protecting this natural beauty. Check it out. Lando, you having fun, buddy? Eating the snow? Woohoo! Wow, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that fun? Yeah. It's a nice view over that peak.
It keeps on going.
Wow.
But it's pretty. No sheep on the hills.
Goes and goes and goes. Imagine what's over that next to it. But I think from Muncho Lake, that's the row of mountains you can see. So he said that when we get up here, we'll be over that would be Muncho Lake. Back up over those mountains.
After enjoying the spectacular views, we headed back down the mountain to find a camp spot for the night.
So we found a camp spot here, really close to the river. We're just off the Alaska Highway, and it's in the provincial park. It's Muncher Lake Provincial Park, right at the very end of it. Pete's getting the fire going, and Mom has the most difficult task. We don't have much food. We haven't been to a grocery store in over a week, and we're just looking over the inventory here. We're probably gonna have to get really creative to make dinner tonight, but that's okay. Once in a while you got to do that. And tomorrow we're going to be heading south about 3.5–4 hours, and there'll be a grocery store that way. But we'll let you know what we come up with for dinner tonight. All right, look what Carol came up with. We don't have any meat, but we found potatoes, which she cut up and mashed with some leeks and thyme and Parmesan. She made up some delicious gravy and some corn we had. There is a delicious meal. I just scooped some cold mountain water out of that river there. We're just going to filter it into one of our water jugs, and we will make some drinking water. Thank you. Step one is clean the filter. You give it a couple good squeezes with the red one open. Just let that drip. It kind of cleans the filter, and then we'll open the blue one, and that'll be the purified water. And that's it. We just let it gravity feed out of the bag into the filter, back up, and into the water jug. It takes about an hour to fill a jug.
We sat by the fire anticipating the northern lights to appear. Then, as we scanned the clear night sky, we couldn't believe our eyes when we saw over the mountains a bright green glow that grew nearer and brighter.
Oh my word. Whoa.
Seeing the brilliant aurora borealis dancing in the sky over our camp is an experience we will never forget.
Good morning, it's September 30th, and we camped here at the bottom of the mountain road we were on, and it's definitely below zero today, as you can see, and there was ice on our water this morning, so things are getting cooler in the mountains. But no snow yet here. We had snow, of course, in the high elevations, but today we're going to continue heading south. We'll make a decision whether we go through through Jasper in Alberta and head south that way, or if we cut back into BC. But we'll take you with us, and we'll let you know how it goes. Yum, hot cocoa in the morning with whipped cream. that, we carried on down the Alaska Highway, all the way down to Dawson Creek, which is mile 0, right on the Alberta border. We were just heading down the Alaska Highway and we saw a cutoff into this canyon. So we drove in here, but it's just a short road and it dead ends here, but there is a fire pit. So I'm gonna mark this for you if you're coming up this way. This would be an epic camp spot. You've got a little babbling brook over there. You've got just epic scenery in all directions. Let's mark it on Gaia for you. Come back, right, Leno? Next time we're up this way, we'll go camping in this spot there. Look at that. And if
All right.
This is a neat little stop along the Alaska Highway. Just after you come out of Summit Lake area, you see the sign that says cinnamon buns, and you're not going to drive by with 3 teenagers a sign that says cinnamon buns. You got to stop. So let's go and see what it's all about. Wow, that's the real deal, guys. That's a big cinnamon bun. Look at that. Smells delicious. We found a little spot on iOverlander, and this is an hour and a half east of Fort Nelson, BC. Today we were in some of the most beautiful mountain ranges you could ever imagine. But then we got out here and it seems to have leveled off, and the trees and the lake and everything reminds us a lot of Northern Ontario, Pickle Lake area when we were up there this summer. But it's a nice quiet spot. It's not that far from the Alaska Highway, but what we've learned as we've gone around here at night, nobody drives, so it's very, very quiet. So we're gonna make some food, make a fire, relax. We pushed pretty hard today, and we're all stocked up now with new groceries. Look at that, pork chop, rice and beans. That is a classic camping meal. We're in Dawson Creek, BC at the very beginning. They call it mile 0 of the Alaska Highway. Back in 1942, during the war, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers arrived here in Dawson. This was about as far as the roads went at the time, and they needed to make a road into Alaska. At that point, there was no way to drive to Alaska. And it was for security purposes. So they invoked the War Act, and just overnight, this town went from 500 people up to as many as 10,000 at one point. And in 8 months they carved the rough Alaska Highway from here all the way through BC into Yukon, all the way across Yukon and into Alaska. Just an unbelievable feat of engineering and hard work. And we've watched videos and read books about it along the way. It's our second time doing the Alaska Highway from here to Alaska and back. This time we didn't quite go to Alaska, but we went from Yukon to here. And it's just a really interesting thing, and as you're driving along, the more history you know about it, the better. Just to think about the guys who came here and just carved through the wilderness across gullies and streams and through over mountains and some of the roughest territory and most beautiful territory on earth. So something to check out, the Alaska Highway. There's some videos available on YouTube and some great books that tell the history. After that, we carried on through Alberta and finally stopped in Jasper National Park. Morning, it's October 3rd and we just spent the night here. We found this little spot in the woods. You know, when we're traveling rapidly like we've been doing since the north, we're trying to get back down south. We, you know, don't take time to set up a whole camp. Basically, we'll find a spot like this. We're about 5 clicks, a couple miles off of the main road, and we just found a clearing in the forest last night, and we'll just pop up our tents, make a bit of food, whatever, just the basics, and then now in the morning just pack them up and carry on down the road. So not every time is a full setup, making a fire, you know, cooking food over the fire, all that kind of stuff. We do that as much as we can because that's what we really enjoy doing, but only when we have time. So yeah, we're just north, we're 3 hours north of Jasper National Park in Alberta, and we're excited to get back there. It's such a beautiful park. We'll find a place to camp there tonight, and then we'll go through parts of Banff. That's another gorgeous place, and then we're close to where we started, which is Radium Hot Springs. We're watching this week's video. We haven't seen it yet. Got it up on time this time. Looks like the elk might want to come and watch too. We may be sleeping in a parking lot in a national park, but we still have tons of wildlife here. We just have 3 big elk walk through, right through the spot where we're camping. One's still over there, and 2 went that way, so they're calling each other.
But all night you could just hear them all.
Bugling, yeah. It's such a vast, beautiful park, and then they only have the one road that goes through it, and then the camping areas. And it's busy on a day like this, but being the weekend, but other than the humans that are on this pathway, on this road, everything else is wild. So
Stay tuned for next week's episode as we head through Banff National Park's epic mountains back to the Kootenay Mountains for Canadian Thanksgiving and to prep for some epic adventures in southwestern British Columbia.
And in the meantime,
We'll see you down the road.